This could have gone terribly. The Wi-Fi could have gone out. We could have
what
had
did
a
go
million tech
terribly was the
issues.
weather. I had to drive through like
Dude.
a dystopian wasteland of a city in the rain. When
It's
it rains here,
dumping.
nobody knows what to do. It's actually the apocalypse.
Yeah.
People just start driving in the other lane,
Literally.
going the wrong direction. People just give up. It's a free-for-all.
I understand that it's scary, but like hydroplaning is not going to happen if it's drizzling.
I don't think it's real.
Hydroplaning? Hydroplaning is not
It's
real.
never happened to me. I
It's
just
the
I don't
birds and hydroplaning.
I'm
They're
beginning
not
to
fucking
think it's
real.
not true.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Guys, we're here with Connor. Hi.
Hello.
Connor is the first person to christen my new house with his footsteps. What do you think about my new house?
Very spacious.
It's not spacious at all.
Less like boys than the last one.
Mm-hmm. I know that it was not spacious because you walked in and you went, oh. Which I knew it was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, it's small.
Oh, it's like like this is nice for its size kind of.
Yeah.
You know.
I think for one person, it's not bad. Did Connor get lost in all of the rooms of your mansion?
Yes, I did.
It's kind of like one room with walls. The kitchen is not bad, though.
One room with walls.
Yeah, the kitchen's not bad. And also, everything's brand new. Like, all the appliances are brand new and everything. Somebody asked something in chat earlier that I didn't ask about, but they asked if you're wearing your anxiety glasses. And I need to know what the anxiety glasses
like,
are.
it's nice to like wear sunglasses because then I don't have to like completely make eye contact with people or can like, I don't know, it just feels like a layer in front of me and I feel more comfortable. And so
like
a lot
the
of times I
Kanye
just wear
glasses?
sunglasses. I don't think they're like Kanye glasses.
Oh, they're aviators.
Yeah.
I've actually seen you wear them
Yeah,
before.
you see me wear sunglasses.
At nighttime.
Yeah, even at night.
That's a good barrier. You know what I do? I did this at TwitchCon a lot and I wasn't going to tell anybody, but I'm going to body it fully. So when I get anxious at like a party, I go to the bathroom a lot, not actually to go to the bathroom, but just to like kind of stand in the bathroom, you know?
Right. That's a girl thing.
Yeah, what I've started doing is just taking a drink to the bathroom and then just drinking it on the toilet. And so I did that at TwitchCon a whole lot because there was like the Stream Elements party.
Oh, like an alcoholic drink?
Yes. And so I will just go to the toilet and I'll just sit on the toilet and like body half of my drink to get it in my system and then call it.
It's a good strategy. I wanted to do that.
It's not bad. Did you go to TwitchCon?
I did. I just got back from Japan. So
true. I actually forgot that happened. Can we talk about that?
I went to Japan and then I got sick there like 3 days in. So I was sick in Japan.
Did you get COVID?
No, it was just like a cold. And then I got better.
Mm-hmm.
I flew straight to Vegas. When I came back, I went to Vegas. And I was just burned out because I was already in Japan.
What was the coolest thing that happened in Japan?
Coolest thing in Japan. There was like a day when I was sick when I went to the Nintendo store and like there's like a Nintendo store and like a Pokemon store next to each other.
Yeah, I've heard those are cool.
And so I went to that and like bought some stuff and then as I go to the floor below, I was like, that is my best friend growing up's cousin. Like that, I know this guy. That is Kazi, my friend's cousin. And
Did you know he was going to be in Japan?
No, I was like, that is him. And I was like 85% certain, but I didn't say hi because I'm like, no, there's no way that's like my friend's cousin who I haven't seen in like 10 years. But I text my friend anyways. I was like, hey, any chance your cousin Kazi is like in Japan? And he's like, yeah, no, that's him. And I was like, oh. So I just walked past this guy I hadn't seen in like 10 years.
Did you go like find him and say hi or you just
No, it was like a very like this building. It was like a mini mall. So many people. I wouldn't have been able to find him.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah, it was crazy. So
I do the same thing you did where I would just be like, there's no way that this is real. So I'm just going to like not believe that's insane.
Yeah. So that was the coolest part of Japan was being like, wow, small world.
Do you speak Japanese at all?
No.
The Schlatt?
No.
Did you guys like have somebody or did you just
Jacob or Alfarag gave me like 10 words to like learn that could help if like I need them, and I didn't learn them, but I had them on hand if I had needed them. But again, I got sick, so I like missed half the trip, so I didn't even get to really do it. There was like a time we did a video with Ludwig. Ludwig and Schlatt mainly did a video where they're like drifting cars or something. I walked into this was like 2 hours north of Tokyo, so it's like near a small town. And so I was like, I'm gonna go walk into this small town and just like see what Japan is like. And so I go in, walk like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And there's just a giant store that like a monument to the sky, biggest, tallest building in the town that just said DVD, like the DVD,
DVD logo,
like the DVD logo. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went a bit further, went to 7-Eleven, got food. I came back. I'm like, I see this DVD store. I'm like, there's got to be like something cool in there. Like there's got to be like cool like vintage movies. And so I walk in and it was just all like vile pornography everywhere. Like on the walls, on the ceiling, like against like the cashier, like on the where the cashier puts money in. It was just everywhere.
Was it like all the sex stuff, or was it just like films?
It was like films. It was like girls that you could just like the cover was just a girl, but they're on like the same set. So you just like pick a girl. Like, yes.
Was it English or was it Japanese or was
there
it
was no words.
There were only photos.
There were no words needed for what
Did you buy
they
anything?
were trying to sell. No, I didn't buy any. Well, we bought a zoo on Blu-ray.
Oh, was it the porn one?
No, it's just a joke. But
that could be a funny version.
Just being silly.
Oh, so you go in and it's like porn, but also regular DVDs.
Yeah.
So you're walking in and it's just like you have a row of just like.
No. It was just all pornography. It was so bad I didn't go further to like look for actual normal DVDs.
But it was all porn, and then we have a zoo.
Well, that's a joke that I say is that we bought a zoo.
I thought that you went into a porn store where it was all porn, but then only one rack of bought a zoo.
Yeah, that would have been awesome, but no.
They're like, this is so bad that we're just gonna put it into the pornography.
Yeah, well,
store.
the guy like behind the cashier desk like said something to me. It was obviously in Japanese, so I didn't know.
Sure.
And so this is after like I was like in shock for like 5 seconds as I walked in the door. He said something and I just go, yes. And then I walked back out. I just left.
He could have said anything.
Yeah, I don't know what he said. I was like, yeah. And then I went
He could have said like, do you want ownership over this building? I'm giving you the rights to this entire building.
He's like, please get me out. But it was just crazy. It was like in the middle of like the town. Like there's like houses like behind it.
Like a school next door.
It's like, do kids just like not go in here? Is this
running
normal?
Through the store, like grabbing things off the shelves.
Yeah. So that was my Japanese experience.
And then you went straight into Vegas, which is kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah, Vegas was fine. Like the parties were fine. It was nice. I like seeing my friends. No, it wasn't. But like
parties were not fine.
I just get anxious.
Yeah, well, Vegas is.
I get so tired. I've started like not looking forward to these events.
I'm not gonna say I didn't have fun at Vegas because that's not true. I had much less fun than I thought I would, and I felt like I was stressed the whole time. I felt like I spent most of the time traveling. Mm-hmm. Like getting in Ubers. We got an Airbnb that was off the strip. My thought was, okay, the convention center's not on the strip, so it doesn't matter where we stay. So we got an Airbnb and we were like, we're gonna have to Uber to the convention anyways. But what happened, we would Uber to the convention, Uber to the strip, and then end up Ubering home and not have fun in any of them. And the parties were chaotic because it was Vegas.
Yeah, that was pretty similar to mine, where like last year they had given me like credentials to like do whatever. So there's like the partner lounge and there's like the cooler partner lounge.
Yeah.
And like for whatever reason this year I just was not on that list. And like they were being very weird about like giving me that access. Uh-huh. And like kind of like made me feel bad for like asking for it, even though like
Did
I definitely
you a little bit?
Not really. They were just like, oh, like we can't even give these to like spouses of people that are like, I'm like, well, that's not true. This just happened with this person. Like that's just bullshit. Huh. But like it's not in anybody's hands. It was just stressful because I was sick that weekend. And so like more than any other event, I wanted to like not have to go on the floor and like see people.
I saw you outside of the partner lounge.
Yeah, I was
funny
miserable
because
that day.
That's the second time that I've seen you outside of the partner lounge at a TwitchCon.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because San Diego, I think we had just met, and so I ran into you when they had that table where they give you all the gifts.
Yeah.
The cool gifts.
Yeah.
Which I didn't take the gifts this year. Thank you, Twitch, but I didn't. It was
we
keycaps.
The Alpha Red Cup Pong thing, right?
We did, yeah. Which is funny because I just had Jacob on.
That was a fun event. He should do that again.
I was a fun event, and one of my favorite parts, which the event was fucking awesome, but being in the green room, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, the green room was a good time.
I think it was the most fun green room I've
Once
ever
they turned on
been
the
in.
AC, it was fun. I remember
that
it
is
was
true.
really, really hot until it wasn't.
Yeah, I went straight in, and I do this at a lot of things, which it's not unhealthy because I don't drink unless I'm at like events. Yeah. But when I go to things that give me anxiety, I immediately am like, hey, can I have a drink? Like, do you have anything to drink? And so I went in, and they had a lot of things to drink at the beer pong tournament. And so I just cracked like a couple of White Claws, and I remember it was our turn to go out and play pong, and I was like, whoo, this is not going to be for me. Going back to TwitchCon, I hope they have it in San Diego next year.
Yeah, hopefully.
What would be the best like city in your opinion for it?
I think it'd be funny if they did Atlanta.
Okay. Atlanta is
You don't know where Atlanta is?
Yeah, no, I was gonna tell you. You know this about me. So when I went to Creator Clash, I was flying into I'm trying to remember the city that Creator Clash was in. Tampa. Okay. So I had a layover in Atlanta. I thought that Atlanta was in Florida. So what happened was I thought I had a layover in Atlanta and then I was going to Tampa, and I was like, that's kind of weird to have a layover like that close.
Yeah.
So I got off the plane in Atlanta and I walk off and I'm like, okay, well, I have like a 2-hour layover here. And I get off and I see something that says Georgia.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And then I texted Barry because me and Barry were on separate flights that landed like at the same time. And I was like, dude, I didn't know until this moment that Atlanta was not in Florida, that it's actually in Georgia. And so I'm in a completely different state than I expected to be in. But you're from Atlanta.
Wait, so you were just in a different state?
Yeah, I was just chilling.
Oh, I didn't know if it presented any further issue for you.
No, I
It was just
I
kinda
was in like
jarring.
an entirely
Yeah.
different place than I intended to be. And it
Yeah.
was fine because all I had to do was sit at the airport for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, like, you go like 20 minutes south of Atlanta, it may as well be Florida.
Yeah.
Like
fair.
the entire like lower half of that state is just North Florida.
What is Georgia like?
It's actually like pretty normal. Like I would say like a baseline, like at least like where I was, like just outside of Atlanta, like there's just a lot of different kind of people. But like you can go like 20 minutes each direction and get a lot of extremes. So you get a lot of like very conservative like southern people in one direction. You get like completely different vibe the other direction.
That's how Oregon is kind of.
Yeah.
I think Oregon is much more red than people think it is because people think of Portland.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, keep Portland weird. Like it's
Like the
super
entire
left.
eastern part of that state is like
All of
super-
it.
yeah.
It's you go down like I-5 from like north to south, and that's pretty blue. But
Weren't people
anytime you
talking
get
about
outside
splitting
of
that state up not even too long ago?
yeah, they wanted to combine like Eastern Oregon with like Idaho or something
Yeah.
to make like a. I
That
don't
would've
remember what
been-
they called
That would
it.
have been awesome.
There's a group of streamers that are trying to make Washington the new
I've
LA.
heard that. Can we say who they are? Because I know exactly who you're talking about.
I don't know if we can say who they are, but there is a big group
Literally,
of them. They're
there's
gathering
It's a
people.
conversation with like 3 different people I've had where like, has so and so like talked to you about like Washington?
Have you been talked to
Have you
about
like
Washington?
have you heard the
Have you heard the good
yeah.
word of
I'm
Washington
like, yeah,
State?
it's like a cult being spread.
Yeah, it is. Which is, I mean, the cold is just shopping at REI and drinking IPAs, but that's
yeah. Okay. Actually, sounds
fine.
pretty cool.
It sounds. The Pacific Northwest is beautiful. I would love to go back.
I would love to have an excuse that I'm excited about to not be in LA.
I was gonna ask. So you, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people know you recently moved to LA.
Yeah.
Like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And do you have like a reason why you moved to LA?
I felt like I should do it if I'm ever going to do it while I'm younger. Also, just like there's a lot of things that go on here. There were in Austin too, but again, I just wanted to try something new, I think.
I feel like you were traveling to LA a lot anyway.
Yeah, I was traveling here like once a month anyways.
Yeah.
And then Austin, I just got tired of like the weather there last summer. Like it was so hot in the sun. It was over 100 degrees for like 8 weeks in a row. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And like the winter isn't fun there either.
I went to RTX and it was
RTX was the worst convention I'd ever been to this year. It was funny.
Oh, dude.
It was laughably bad. Like I felt bad for everybody. I used to love like Achievement Hunter.
It
and
was
Rooster
the
Teeth.
big one. It used to be the big one.
I used
which
to love them
sucks.
like 2009 to 2000 like 13, 14. I was like the biggest Achievement Hunter Rooster Teeth fan.
Right.
And like I can't imagine like I would have never pictured it being as small as it was this year.
It sucked because they brought me out to it, which was really cool, and I did a bunch of like, not a bunch, but I did a couple cool panels, which was fun to do with like Funhouse, you know, because
Yeah.
John Smith is like super cool, and like all the rest of the
I
people.
forgot
like,
you know those people.
Yeah, it was John. It's actually funny, like with John, he raided me a couple times on Twitch, and he was like streaming Dark Souls, and I was like, oh yeah, John Swift, like the Dark Souls guy. Yeah, cool, Dark Souls streamer. And then Nan was like, no, he's from Funhouse. And I was like, I don't know who that is. And that's like classic me to just like not know who anybody is ever. And so then I got to know him, and then he invited me out like a couple months ago to do a video with Funhouse. And so I got to go out to their office, and it's like so cool.
That's great. That'd be like my Make-A-Wish. It's
It's
like I want to go do a Funhouse video.
They're really cool, and their office is like if you had a bunch of people that had a corporate office, but then they wanted to make it like the way that a 13-year-old would decorate a corporate office.
Oh,
It's awesome. Because like you
it's
walk
like
in,
most streamer apartments.
yeah, literally. You walk in and it's just like there's like a paper mache snowman like right in the front, and then there's just a throne sitting like right in the front, and there's just like random shit everywhere. But yeah, RTX, they brought me out and it was really cool, but it just seems like it's dwindling, and I don't know why.
I think Rooster Teeth itself is just falling off completely. Like they don't make, besides like Funhouse or some arms of them, like they don't make content on the same level they used to. The personalities like all left or like aren't there in the same capacity. So the reason a lot of like older fans were there, they don't care anymore.
Yeah. What were they like known for like back? Because I didn't watch any of them.
They started with like if you ever heard of Red versus Blue, it's basically it's just like a machinima web show within Halo that they did. It was pretty funny for a while, but it got pretty bad later on where they just kind of kept doing it to do it. They had the Rooster Teeth podcast, which was pretty big. Although again, like they just did everything wrong. Like
really?
Like probably like starting like 2014, 2015. It didn't help that a lot of the people there ended up being like pedophiles or something.
Oh, really?
Like that's always an issue.
That does tend to make things go south.
That's always a problem when you have like a company or a group in like the gaming or streaming space, when like the people become like either sexually like predatory or pedophiles.
I say that all the time, like with streaming, like that's one thing I've noticed moving to LA is like I hate it, and I almost hate to see it, to like say it, but you kind of have to keep your cards close a little bit, because if I had $1 for every time somebody came out of left field being a fucking weirdo, like I could actually probably move out of LA.
Yeah.
Because, and it sucks because obviously like you don't want that to happen, but it seems like every couple months it's just like, God damn it, like you hear something and you're just like, God damn it, like I didn't want to hear that.
I like to think I have a good radar
Yeah.
and can know, or at least have like a hint.
I think you do.
But yeah, I mean,
you and Emma both have good radars.
Yeah.
Which is funny because you guys are good friends.
People say that about us. Yeah. That's been said before.
Which is nice because you both like hanging out with me, so that makes me feel okay.
We really need to get a read.
Right,
we're trying to figure this one out.
So you moved to LA 6 months ago,
Yep.
and then how do you feel now?
I like it. I'm glad that I'm here over Austin. My apartment's a bit too expensive, so I don't know how long I can keep doing that.
It's hard to find a place to live when you don't live here.
I also just don't want to move again. So it's like, okay, I need to make more money now.
Moving out of an apartment sucks too, specifically.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure that out.
Living in LA is cool. I think that ideally I wouldn't want to be here forever. I've always said like, because it's good for our careers. Like obviously like we're close to everything and things are happening and you can just like bop over and go to them. But the second that I don't have to live here, I don't think that I'm going to. Because it's not the ideal place for me to like live forever. And I definitely don't want to like buy a house here. So as far as like, actually, I have to talk about this. I had to climb an 8-foot tall fence today to get back into my house because I locked myself out of my apartment 2 times this week. And I know that this is out of left field, but I have to get this off my chest. So today I left my apartment, and I've done this before where I leave my keys in the house, but every time my roommates have been there. So left my apartment, walking down the street, realized that I locked myself out of my apartment. I have to call my neighbor and ask her if she can buzz me in. She does buzz me in. I have to climb an 8-foot tall fence, and there's like a construction worker there. And I was like, hey, I have to climb this fence. And he just like kind of looked at me, and I don't think he spoke English, because he kind of looked at me in the like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And I was like, that fence, I have to climb it. And he was like, okay. So I just shimmied my way up this wooden fence and then like threw my body over the top of it and got in my back door. And so that is a big thing that I did today that I wanted to share with everybody.
One time when I visited LA, I had to climb a building like that. But it was probably like 10 feet. Not to like one up you, but like no. Okay, we were here for
like, you know what? I know you climbed an 8-foot
That's really
tall
cool
fence.
that you climbed 8 feet, but I climbed like 10 one time.
Yeah.
But we were here for what it was Ludwig's roast like 2.5 years ago. Cutie had flown me, Schlatt, and Ms. Kiff out and put us in this Airbnb that was like north of Anaheim or something. I had the key that day. There was only one key for all of us, and I had the key, and I don't, maybe they'd already left, or Ms. wasn't there, but Schlatt already left or something. But I get back to the B&B at around like 12:30, and like I realized, oh, I left the key in there today. Like I never took it out, and I need the key to get into the apartment building. And I'm like, this is bad. Like it's an Airbnb, so like I don't want to. The last thing I ever want to do in any situation ever is stress out Cutie Cinderella any more than she already has on her plate.
This is true.
That is always my philosophy, and so I'm like, I'm
true.
not going to call Cutie and stress her out and make her call the B&B owner.
Yeah, if I can figure out a problem without asking her like even a simple question, I will try to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so I'm looking at the building, and I'm just I literally, it was like, you ever played Assassin's Creed?
Yes.
You know when you click in like the right stick and like everything gets like you can see everything around you.
Spidey senses.
And I could see how to scale the side to get on the floor. I was like, I see it. So I jumped up on this dumpster and then on the side, and then I climbed into like a tiny window on like the second floor of this apartment complex. I was like, I would get arrested if anybody saw this.
That's how I felt. I was like, I'd have to go in and I'd have to be like, I can prove that I live here. Because that's an Airbnb. Like, at least I had mail and stuff there.
Yeah.
Like, I could go in and I could be like, okay, I can tell you exactly the floor plan of the inside. Like, I promise I know what's in there. I watched that roast when I was going to be on Eric's, because I had never done a roast and I hadn't even really watched that many of them. I just see TikToks of Justin Bieber roasting Martha Stewart sometimes. But I was going to do Eric's, and so I watched that one. And I was under the impression that Schlatt and Miz didn't plan anything for it.
Miz definitely didn't plan anything.
And like Schlatt also seems like he didn't plan anything, but it was really funny.
Schlatt killed it at that, if I remember. He had a really good one.
He just he stood there and what did he do? He stood there and he like waited for applause or something.
Yeah.
And then just like shook
that
Led's
was
hand.
Arguably that was some of his best work, was that roast.
That's true.
It was really good. I remember thinking like, wow, this actually worked out, even though Mizkiff bombed.
Yeah.
Everybody else did pretty good.
He was unplanned, but it looked like it. Somebody turned me on to Schlatt's Ode to Minecraft video.
It's a classic.
And I had never seen it before. And I'm like kind of new to Minecraft, which is wild.
Yeah.
But I watched it and it made me cry a little bit. It's a good video.
Yeah, it's good. He should do more like that.
He should do more like that?
He should.
Yeah. Is he aiming towards vlogging, kind of?
He's aiming towards whatever
he wants to do.
Whatever.
I had my vlogging era, and vlogging is really fun and I love it, but you either have to go vlog with the intention of having fun so that you can film it, or you go take a camera with you everywhere you go, and both suck.
Yeah.
Because like you either have to go fabricate fun for the sake of vlogging, or you have to be camera guy.
I vlogged one time and I never released it, and my viewers still hound me about it. But it would be a good vlog if I ever took the time to edit it.
Do you have the film?
I have it. I still have the footage somewhere. I went to the Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather fight.
Why would you not? Yeah, like put that together,
the summer
dude.
Of 2021. Yeah, there's a full vlog with a lot of good bits that I filmed, but I haven't edited it.
Do you want to like give it to somebody to edit, or you like
no,
helping on editing it yourself?
I want to do it myself.
That's how vlogs kind of are.
I wanted to make it like in the exact same style as a David Dobrik video.
Oh God.
So it'd be like
Vlog Squad?
It'd be 420 in length, and like it would go to like a fake SeatGeek ad. Because he would always be like, "Oh, this video, thanks SeatGeek," and then like the AJR music would play, and all his friends would fucking do cocaine or something.
Yeah, you could do that.
That was the idea.
Was Logan Paul ever in the Vlog Squad?
He's probably in a video. I don't think he was like in the Vlog Squad.
He was like, aren't they Viners? Logan and Jake Paul.
Yeah,
I think they were Vine guys.
Yeah, they were.
I've heard that he's like, even though he's kind of a shithead, he's a really good fighter.
Logan Paul?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess so. The thing is, like, Jake Paul is like the same. I would say Jake Paul is probably like better than Logan and like comparatively now, but like the thing is, Jake Paul doesn't actually box boxers. He kept boxing like MMA fighters. So I don't know what their deal is. I think they're both kind of just like, you know, they're both Pauls.
Why do you think like content creators love to fight? Like, I feel like
I really
all
like.
roads lead to fighting.
I don't know. I think it's more of like a commentary on like society in general. That's like an exciting concept of somebody fighting somebody. But like, I don't know specifically why like creator fighting has become such a thing.
It seems.
I mean, I guess it's like what I just said. It's like the idea of like one person versus one person is appealing, and I don't really know
it's
any
like
other.
very primal.
Yeah, it's primal.
It's primal to watch people
It's
it's I think the reason why is because it's primal to watch other people hit each other and have a fun time with that, and it's entertaining. And so like watching entertainers fight each other, like I feel like that just is in the wheelhouse. And also you don't need to like rely on a team.
Yeah.
So it's like you could go and you could train with a coach, and then you could fight like another person, and you don't need to like, it's not like you need to get a whole team of basketball players to do like content creator basketball thing, which they do. But that's why like for me with chess boxing, I was just like, oh cool, I can like train and then get in and then fight and then call it a day.
Yeah. How'd that go?
It's going great. Still training, but I have no final boss. So that's fun for me. Do you think I would have
I think you would have fucking killed her. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We were all discussing, we were concerned. We were like, no, she's going to kill. Did they know you're going to fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were like, no, she's going to kill Emily.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be like sad.
The thing is I was starting to get kind of like worried a little bit, because I was like a couple weeks in, like 5 days a week, like crazy training. And she was like looking for a coach. And I was like texting her, and I'd be like, hey, did you find a coach? And she'd be like, no, like I found this guy, and like I didn't really like him that much.
No,
so
I like rode a boat in the middle of like the highway today in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I'm training. And I was like, okay, like, let me know. Like I can, if you need help finding anybody. But the thing about it with chess boxing is the opportunity cost is much different for me and her.
Right.
Where like, she's massive, so is she gonna get much growth from it? Probably not.
Yeah, she does like too much like work. She just does too much.
She does
like
a
I
lot.
can't imagine like implementing like a boxing training into that regimen.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that when we started. I was like, I think I have more time to train somehow, even though I'm still busy. I have more time to train than she does, because she's like doing crazy IRL shit like every day.
Yeah.
Like she's like like her ideas that she comes up with too are just like shameless.
They're crazy.
She's the most shameless person I've ever met, actually. I've
told her, I've talked to her. I'm like, what can I learn from you as a person that can make me better as a person? Mm-hmm. I asked that because I was like, how do you, because the way she portrays herself is so admirable in a sense that like that she just doesn't give a shit what other people think. She told me she does care. I think certain people she cares about, but she just lets those people like decide. And most like random people, I guess she sees, like she won't see them again.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I feel like an asshole when I IRL stream.
Yeah, no, me too. I think I look like an idiot.
There was a thing that happened to us. Do you remember that time that guy hit on me at that bar?
Yes. Can I tell the story?
Yeah, you can.
This was awesome. This was so awesome. This is I've seen my friends get hit on before, but this one was awesome. Mm-hmm. Sam and I were just talking for like 20 minutes. Like it was like a pretty good bit of time at the end of this party. Mm-hmm. We're just kind of standing around talking. And there'd been this guy that was just there. We hadn't spoken to him. Friend of a friend of a friend that was just there.
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently. So Sam and I are talking, and this guy just kind of walks into the conversation. It wasn't like we were even standing, like inviting another person. It was like he kind of made a wedge and made it now a triangle of people. But we still didn't talk to him still.
Wedging
we didn't say anything. No. We continued our conversation for like 2 minutes. And then the guy's just like, hey, do you want to like get lunch tomorrow? Like says it to you. And he looks at me too. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like I look at you and she goes, nope, no thanks. And then he's like, okay. And he leaves. Like we were on like a rooftop. He goes straight to the elevator and calls it and goes and leaves. Yeah. And I look at Sam, just like, what's that guy? like I was like, did you like you talked to him earlier?
Nope.
And you're like, nope. I was like, oh, he just came out of nowhere.
It was weird because he was standing there for that long, and I assumed that he knew you and maybe like wanted a photo.
I thought it might have been something like that too.
Yeah, and so I was kind of I was seeing this guy and I was looking at you, and then I was kind of like, I think the time that he came in and asked me, I gave like a break in the conversation because I was gonna allow him to just do his thing.
Right.
And so I like gave it a break in the conversation, and yeah, he just shot. And it was weird because like the next day was like a Monday or something.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "Do you want to go to like lunch maybe tomorrow?"
Monday the next day.
And I was
lunch
like,
on Monday.
I was like, No, I really did. I was like,
You
no.
know, no.
And then I assumed that maybe he would like go
That's
back
what
to
it
his
was because
friends.
it was like, because it was strange that it came up, but I didn't know at the time that you'd not spoken to him. And so like,
I
so
didn't even
to me, I
acknowledge
was
that he
like,
there.
I thought like, damn, like Sam, you just shut that guy down.
I did. I
Like,
shut him
damn,
down hard.
that was crazy.
Yeah, no, and then he didn't go back to his group of friends. He just went straight out of the bar.
He
Gone.
just left.
So I'm assuming that like his friends were there earlier.
And then we
and
asked like whose party was it? You know this guy? And they're like, I don't think.
Well, that's another thing is the person. So it was one of our friends' birthday, and so we were up on this like rooftop area, and I was kind of under the impression that most of the people up there were with us, but then there was kind of some people that I was like, maybe they're not, maybe they're just up here, and so yeah, when this guy like talked to me and then he left, I was like, that guy must have just been a floater, like maybe he wasn't like with our group. And then I had the person whose birthday it was send me the group photo because we took a group photo, and this motherfucker is in the photo like almost right in the front. And so I sent it to her and I was like, who is this? I was like, who is this? And she was like, I don't know who that is. I was like, was this guy with the group or did he just like infiltrate the party, which was, it wasn't even a party. It was, it was just like, it was like maybe 10 people.
Yeah.
And I was like, he just infiltrated the group and then decided to shoot his shot and didn't work. And then he dipped.
This guy wouldn't be getting dragged if like he had said anything to you. Or
Anything.
like if there was any context, like it was just like he was a complete stranger.
It wasn't even like we met eyes across the bar or anything. He just like
Well,
he
saw you across
he
the
did
bar,
he
I
met his eyes with the back of my head, and then he just rocked up and said, I'm gonna shoot my shot, and I didn't know he existed until the moment that he spoke to me. Actually, until the moment that he was your shadow.
Yeah.
For maybe 15 minutes straight, just standing there, just watching. If you had to make a product, it's like a branded product, what would you do?
A branded product.
Yeah, like a
So,
Mr.
like,
Beast bar or like a.
I wanted, when they still had Mr.
sunscreen.
Beast Burger, I was in talks with them to do a Connor burger.
Were you?
Yes. I
With
somehow,
Mr. Beast with Jimmy?
yeah. The idea was it would just be like a cheeseburger with ketchup with nothing else on it because everything else in their menu had too much on it.
Why would you do that?
And I was annoyed because I wanted a simple burger because I don't like a lot of stuff on it.
Is that what you eat when you get a burger?
Yeah.
Just ketchup?
Yeah, just ketchup on cheeseburger.
You know what I get?
What?
Just onions.
See, that's too. I don't want onions on it.
Yeah, but I just go through and I'll get, and they never put enough onions on it. So I'll just go through the drive-thru and I'll be like, hey, can I get a burger plain with just onions? And one time I went to Wendy's and she was like, huh? And I was like, can I get a burger like just plain with just onions? And she was like, yeah, okay. And then I pulled through and they never put enough. So I usually have to like ask for extras. And it's embarrassing every single time.
Yeah, that is pretty embarrassing. I can't relate.
It's a bad
People think
word.
my cheeseburger with ketchup is really normal.
That's like the blank Microsoft Word document of like a food.
Yeah, that's most of my
Item.
like food options, I guess. Cause like,
You're just like a plain eater.
yeah, I have like OCD, which I think plays into like sensory issues.
Do you like diagnosed?
Yes.
What is that like?
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, it's super debilitating, but I think it also like elements of it make it led to my success too.
How so?
Cause like, I don't know, just like the way my brain operates and how I bounce between things and overanalyze certain things that probably shouldn't need overanalyzing, but sometimes it helps.
I've said like multiple times, I don't think that there's a single like neurotypical streamer.
No, absolutely not. Well, I mean, maybe, but like those people are actually the insane ones.
Yeah, that's true. If you
Yeah.
streamed as like a neurotypical person, I think you'd hate it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they probably go crazy.
Yeah, because it would just be like they would also try to be like too. I don't know like what an approach would be. Maybe like I feel like the like neurodivergency brings out like creativity.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Like I'm bipolar and my best stream ideas have come from like manic episodes.
Yeah.
Because it just, I mean, your brain like, I don't know, maybe it like tries to overcompensate with creativity or something. Or it's just like things are not firing correctly. So it leads to creativity.
Correctly is like one way to put it, but I think everybody's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's true. How old were you when you got diagnosed?
When I was in 7th grade, I went to a Christian school, and my Bible teacher at the time, she was terrible. She kept getting annoyed at how I behaved in class. So she was like, this kid needs to go get tested for ADHD.
That's always ADHD.
So my mom's like, okay, I'll go get tested for ADHD. They were like, yeah, you got ADHD. And then probably like a year later, started getting like bad anxiety and stuff. So I kept going back to like doctors, trying to figure stuff out. Eventually they were like, yeah, like you got this, you got that. But eventually settled on, I have OCD, anxiety. I guess depression kind of goes with that in waves.
I feel like, yeah, depression
All
kind
that
of
shit.
is like like when they just toss in a free sample when you go to like a store.
You get that on the way out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you get like annoyed when people say like, oh, my OCD makes me blah, blah, blah? 'Cause I feel like it's a pretty overused like
yeah, I mean,
it's
definitely annoying on like a surface level, but I think a lot of people like don't really get it. So like I don't really get upset. I get more annoyed by like the stigmatization around like people that are like on the spectrum now, because like I'm definitely like on that, and like it's kind of become like a joke to a lot of people in a way, which I think is fine to an extent, but I think a lot of people like super stigmatize it and think that like completely ignore what the idea of like a spectrum means. Yeah, because like I'm not very similar to most people I meet that I think are potentially on the spectrum. So it's like, you know. Yeah,
they do kind of make the spectrum look, it's like 2D, right? Yeah. And I feel like the spectrum is more like 3D in a way. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I feel like it depends on the person. I'm pretty, I don't want to say unbothered because it makes it seem like it's better than people that are bothered, but I don't really get irked by a lot of things. And so like with my bipolar, like when people use the word bipolar just like willy-nilly, it doesn't really like bother me because they don't really know what it's like. Yeah. So like I don't know, you know, like something that affects me in my everyday doesn't affect somebody else, so they wouldn't have that like ping to be like, oh, that's too much. Do you get annoyed with like the TikTokification of like being on the spectrum?
Yeah, 1,000%. That's what I was getting at. Like, I think it's done a lot for like normalizing stuff to an extent, but it's also like completely fucked the perception of what these things might mean or mean for somebody.
Yeah, it's like the self-diagnosis too, I think can be like dangerous.
There's a lot of that. There was just so much of that when I was like doing Dream SMP Minecraft stuff.
Oh, really?
Like, so many of those kids like were just like saying insane shit about like what they thought they had on like TikTok and stuff. And I would look at it
like the people on the server, they were like trying to...
No, not like the creators.
Oh, okay.
Just like I would see like in these fan circles, like they would put in like their profiles, like what they have, and as if it's like it's their identity. I'm like, when I was like 14 diagnosed with this, the last thing I wanted to do is like be defined by this thing. So there was that, but it was also just like people definitely not having these disorders that they were saying they were having, like very niche ones.
Is the Dream SMP still like, why did I think it got shut down? Did I make that up?
I don't know if it's like shut down. Probably is.
Yeah.
No one plays on it anymore.
Yeah. Now it's the QSMP, which I don't.
Yeah, that's the one now.
That's like the big one. Are you on that one?
I'm not currently.
What's the deal with that one? Is it Quackity?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Did he get nominated for a
Yeah, he got the Game Awards.
The Game Awards one.
I voted for him.
I voted for Iron Mouse.
What did she do over Quackity this year?
I don't know how many times did Quackity stream.
Debate me.
I'm not going to debate. I log on to Iron Mouse's stream and she says something funny and I go,
do like that. I do like that about Iron Mouse. You were at Cutie's concert.
Yes. I was
we
doing
were at that concert,
the interviews.
And then and then Iron Mouse does her performance and like I look around and I look at like the people that are working that event that don't do streaming and they were like scared. Like it looked like we were in a cult, like we were in a church room all crowding around this one anime girl on a TV singing.
Yeah, sideways TV.
Singing like Celine Dion. And we're just, and like, I'm just like, I glanced around and like literally this girl looked petrified at what was going on in the room.
I think I also had that moment and it's usually with like the VTubers where because when I first started streaming, I like did not get VTubers at all. Yeah. And then now that I've been on it for a while, I actually think that they're great. Yeah. But yeah, that moment, I think also for me, I was like, this is like the way that we're all gathered to watch like a virtual person sing a song on like a television. Like it reminded me of like Plankton's wife on the rolling
Yeah.
Segway. I went to a party once. It was somebody's birthday party. And I was walking around and I was super anxious because I was just like only going to be there for a little bit. I was going for the food because that's what I always do when I get anxious at parties. And somebody handed me a iPad real quick. They were like, hey, can you hold this real quick? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I like looked and I was in a Discord call and they didn't have their like VTube models working, but they just had their little icons.
Yeah.
And I was talking, I was like, hey, how's it going? Like, I just assumed somebody was like in a call with somebody. And they were like, hey, how's it going? Da, da, da. And then I realized that it was Iron Mouse.
Oh.
And then I just like chatted for a second and I like handed the phone back or the iPad back to the person. And I was like, that was the weirdest like 2023 like experience that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Is like having somebody hand me an iPad with a VTuber on it.
Yeah, that's how they've done it at multiple of these events now. Like they're just kind of carried around by their handlers.
Mm-hmm. Their handlers.
Yeah.
Did you see at TwitchCon they had like the specific things for VTubers that were like segways with screens on them?
No, I didn't. I didn't go on the floor.
I don't know how you get one, but like they had. I don't know if Iron Mouse was on one, but there was another big VTuber.
It's got to be crazy on like the other end, like being the VTuber. Like, oh, I'm at the con.
Mm-hmm.
You're just in your same stream room, like being motored around on a Segway.
Yeah, it'd be nice though because they can like go in public. You know,
we should do that with like presidents.
We should
like let Joe go visit people.
We did it, Joe. Just Joe like rolling around TwitchCon.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to like go actually see people.
That would be sick.
Or like be sick or be old.
That is true. I think that I could see a future where old people that are like in bad health that can't go out could be like Segway screened.
I'm glad you can see a future at all because I don't even know.
Yeah, that
anymore.
is true. I was talking about this the other day with like, and I think it's pertaining to just like streaming and stuff. I have the hardest time like visualizing any kind of like future when it comes to just me in general.
Yeah.
Like when I think of 5 years down the road, I have no idea anything.
Yeah, I have that. I'm like always thinking about it though.
Yeah.
Like too much.
Like anxiously.
Yeah, my brain just goes all over all the time.
Yeah.
So like I'm always like, what's next month, next week?
Well,
but like while also we're still dwelling on things from like months or weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true.
I need to like be more present.
Yeah, I'm getting better at that. And I think just because like I'm realizing that especially like the last couple of years, it's like at any given time you can think that you have a plan and then it just doesn't pan out that way.
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to realize that having a plan is good, but having a plan that's like concrete solid can be dangerous because then when it falls through, you feel like you failed. Where if you kind of have like a tentative like outline of like how you things want to go, it feels a lot better because you feel like you don't fail as much.
Yeah.
When did you start streaming?
I started 2016, but I started making like gaming YouTube content like as early as like 2007.
Wow.
When I was like 8. I recorded like Pokemon Wi-Fi battles on my DS.
What is a Wi-Fi battle?
So like you would battle somebody over Wi-Fi.
Oh, nice. That makes sense.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And then I did that. Just did a bunch of stuff like that over the years. Did like sketch comedy with my friends. Then 2016, I already had a like Connoreatspants channel.
Mm-hmm.
I started streaming when the game Pokken Tournament came out for Wii U, which is just like Street Fighter but Pokemon. Mm-hmm. The game sucked, but I was just like, I'm going to stream this. I said to like my 100 YouTube subs at the time. And I started really liking streaming because what I enjoyed about YouTube was like the feedback when I would put out a video, like, oh, 18 people saw my video. Mm-hmm. 2 people commented. I was like over the moon about it.
Gives you those good brain chemicals.
Yeah. So then when I streamed, it was like that immediate feedback, people in the chat. Mm-hmm. But also I had done improv classes in middle school.
Oh, cool.
And so I felt like a lot of those skills kind of carried over to streaming. So I was like, oh, I'll keep doing this. So then I just kept streaming. I was my most consistent and I was my best streamer before it was my job.
Yeah, I think that makes sense
like,
for a lot of people.
2019 came and the Minecraft stuff blew up, which was cool. And I was smart about it. And like I was good about like doing the Minecraft for 2 hours. And then I switched over to variety to keep those viewers. And that worked out really well. Mm-hmm. So I was always smart and good at it. But yeah, especially back then. I mean, I would stream every single night at 8. And I haven't been on a schedule in like years now. Like I was streaming every night at 8 p.m., getting home from school, working on it.
And that was, how old were you, like, in that era?
I had turned 16, 17 around that time. Stuff started to actually make money when I was 19.
It's always such a fascinating thing when people have their blow up when they're like still in high school,
Yeah.
because it's just, you're dealing with an entirely different ball game, because when you're in high school, you're a high school kid.
Yeah,
Like,
I can imagine if I had like
nothing
any level of
matters.
success like while I was a high school kid. The
Right.
thing about it though is I was bad about attending high school. That was
Mm.
partly why I started streaming, because I went to like that Christian school
Mm.
where I couldn't really express myself or be funny in the way I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of had an outlet online.
Every streamer, I feel like their chat is like a reflection of kind of who they are in a way, you know?
Yeah.
I cannot understand your chat. Like, I don't
Dude,
get them.
I completely agree that it's a reflection of who people are, and I don't understand my chat now, which has definitely like made me concerned on my own identity.
Yeah. How
But
do you feel about them?
I love them. I think I have one of the best, like the core people that really like me.
Mm-hmm.
I really like, which is cool, and I think shows me I'm doing something right at the end of the day. That being said, I have noticed that like it becomes very apparent, like when I make an offhanded joke about something, and like maybe I do that 2 or 3 times, then other people start doing it, and I'm like, I don't like when the chat does this bit or this joke or something, whether it's joking about like a more sensitive thing or something like that. It could be anything, but I'm like, I'm very aware of how anything I do or say gets reflected in the chat in some way.
Yeah, that's a hard line. I walk that line, and my chat's smaller, so I can always walk that line a little bit looser. But being able, like, not knowing what you can joke about with your chat, because all it takes is like one person to like take it too far, and then
Right,
it
yeah.
starts
So
to
like,
just steamroll.
yeah,
and-
like when I talk, I've been more open lately about like being like on the spectrum or like diagnosed at one point as on the spectrum, and so like I've talked about that, but then people kind of joke about it and like bring it up as if like it's like a character trait of mine,
Right.
where they're like, and I'm like, I didn't say I was comfortable with that necessarily,
Right.
and it's but like a lot of times things aren't clarified, especially when like you're more like humorous, like what I do, like there's always a layer of satire and like everything that I kind of accept.
Yeah. You
But yeah.
write that line well, I think, to your benefit, where you kind of exist in this space where anything that you say could be satire.
Yeah.
So then anything that you say is kind of fair game in a way, which I know you've gotten in like hot water on Twitter before, but I think you
Yeah,
get
not
in
lately,
less
though.
hot water than a lot of people do.
Yeah, I mean, because I
you've
think
set that standard.
if anybody listens to me or knows me,
Mm-hmm.
you totally know where I'm coming from or how I would, if someone said something I said or did out of context, with the context of knowing me, I would like to hope that usually that would quell any issue.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, like with the Minecraft stuff, that was always more of a hot button issue for them, because a lot of those, it's just such an exposure to a larger audience that doesn't really watch you,
Minecraft
that
is
just
scary.
knows of you and
Yeah.
doesn't really want to engage with you.
Mhm.
Like what teenage girl that like hasn't seen Dream's face, he's still faceless at the time,
Right.
wants to fuck Dream because he's whatever they put in their head,
Sure.
then sees Connoreatspants joking about like the Middle Eastern conflict, and then
Right.
is like, well, hold on a second,
Right.
like
yeah.
that guy shouldn't be doing that. Like
Minecraft.
obviously
stands.
the audience crossover isn't there, but I always thought that was kind of an appeal of mine, was that I was in these spaces that like I had no business being in. Well, not no business, but like just like it was my humor and what I did was so different from everybody else on that I thought
Yeah.
it was a cool.
I mean, you do exist in that, like, which is funny because I don't know if you're actually like this as a person. Like, you do exist in this kind of like, I am just going to be here and I'm just going to kind of like rough it up kind of space. You know what I mean?
Say again?
Like you do exist in this kind of like, I'm just going to be here and I'm going to kind of like say what I'm thinking space, but not to like it, because some people do that in like an asshole way, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, I'm just going to say what I'm thinking. But yeah, that is true. This is like a tough question because it's multifaceted, but do you still like streaming? You've been doing it for a minute.
I do. I love streaming. It's the coolest job in the world, and I like what I do. I will be honest and say that lately, not as much, to the point of maybe no sometimes. And I think it shows that like the main thing of the day is I have the best streams and I enjoy what I do best when I'm making myself laugh. That's all I want to do. Well, I want to make others laugh mainly, but like I can only do that, I feel, if I make myself laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And lately I haven't been doing that as much.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to figure. I think I've just gone through the motions too many times and let numbers and other things. And numbers don't super affect me, but the idea of numbers potentially affecting my brain does affect me. Especially now that I'm in California and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main thing is just trying to be comfortable streaming again where I feel like I can make myself laugh. And it's not that I'm not comfortable streaming anymore. It's just that, yeah, I don't know. I think just the weight of the space gets to you at some point, and I got to mentally navigate that.
Yeah, it's easy to get kind of like stuck in this, like with streaming. I mean, it gives you brain worms really bad, like probably more than anything ever. But it's easy to get kind of stuck in this like rut of like, I want to do something different, but I'm afraid that if I do something different, it'll be bad for me. But I know that like, I'm not really having fun right now.
Yeah.
And that can get, what would you say your like main content is right now? You kind of just do variety.
I wouldn't even say I have content right now. I kind of just like, I've never really considered like just like streaming and playing a game or talking over it, like the word content, because I feel like that implies like a greater level of not necessarily effort but design and planning than I feel like I'm doing when I just go live and play a game. That being said, I do have like some like shows and ideas that I want to do and have wanted to do for a while. I finally started doing like Fortnite Friday again last week.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't really have too much planning for for that and want to do more with it than I currently am.
Yeah.
This Friday I have Jacob Sartorius, hopefully.
Oh really?
Yeah. he's finally down. He's wanted to for a while.
Is that random? That doesn't.
Yeah, well that's the idea of Fortnite Friday is I'm not going to get like Ludwig or somebody to do it.
Right.
Maybe at some point, but like I want to get like absurd random guests.
I love that.
That like you would never see doing like a talk show format while just playing Fortnite. I think it's just an absurd concept. It's like comedians in cars getting coffee or something.
Yeah.
It's funny to me.
It's funny. I think that Twitch is such a interesting space too. Like the idea of, you see a lot of times like YouTubers that are really good YouTubers will try to start streaming and they just.
I got a story about that.
Yeah, go.
I went to the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 premiere.
Did you?
Last March. I took Andrea Botez with me because I needed a girl to go because it was going to be like a red carpet.
Perfect.
So I was like, I'm going to bring Andrea. And I didn't even know what she knew about Sonic or anything. I'm just like, we're going to this.
It doesn't strike me as a Sonic fan,
No.
but I've been surprised
That
before.
comes back into play later. But we get into the movie premiere and immediately I'm like, that's Jonah. Well, his name isn't actually Jonah. But they would call him Jonah in the David Dobrik videos because he looked like Jonah Hill. And I was like, that's that guy. And then I saw Jason Nash, who's like David Dobrik's like 50-year-old friend. Yeah, 50-year-old friend. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. So I was thinking about how to go introduce myself to Jason Nash when Andrea starts pulling at my suit and is like, Connor. I'm like, what? She's like, David Dobrik is right there. I was like, David Dobrik? No way. And she's too scared at the time to even go up and say hi. I think she's like probably more confident now in her pedigree, but at the time she was too scared to go say hi to David Dobrik. So I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'll go up and say hi. So I go up, I'm like, hey, David, and like, what's up? And he saw Andrea next to me, and he recognized Andrea from TikTok, obviously. And so he's like, oh, wait, I know you from like, you're like the chess. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I stream, I play games. And he's like, his mind like explodes that I'm like a streamer. And he's like, oh, like, what do you like do? I'm just like, oh, I just play games. Like, I don't even use a face. Like, you don't even use face cam. He's like, whoa. He's like, yeah, I tried streaming and I sucked at it. Like cause he did it over the pandemic. He like played Fortnite or Warzone or whatever. He's like, I sucked. Like, I'm just bad at games. And I'm like, well, I'm bad at games too. Like, I'm terrible. And people just watch me cause I'm funny. And then literally as I said that, like, I just saw gears turn his head, like something clicking for Twitch that had never made sense to him. Like at that point, he only thought Twitch was like people that are good at games. Like you want to watch people that are good.
That's what I thought also.
Yeah. And so he was like, his mind was just blown. He was like, whoa.
He didn't realize that you could just like have personality. It's
yeah,
like,
it was crazy to him.
Do a YouTube video just live.
Yeah, it just broke his brain.
Did he ever
And then
come back?
Jason Nash immediately came up, was like, I'm Jason. Says hi to both of us. And I told him about Fortnite Friday at the time. Like, you want to play Fortnite? He's like, yeah.
Oh, I should get him.
He
David
gave me his
Dobrik.
email. I'm like, I'm not emailing
He
you.
gave you his email?
Yes. He's like
That
50
is so
years
weird.
old.
That is wild. Yeah, you should get him for Fortnite Fridays.
I should. That'd
And
be
especially
kind
now
of
because they brought it back. They got Fortnite Classic or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's why I did it. That's why I
Mhm.
brought it or started it again.
Yeah, you gotta. Who's the guy that you just said Sartorius?
He was like a Musically star when that was a thing.
Musically. Was he a Vine guy though?
Yeah, I think he probably dipped his toes in that. I remember like earlier YouTube, like he would get shit on by like Rice Gum and like people.
Yeah, his YouTube content is very like YouTube-y.
Yeah, he did that song Sweatshirt.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of a different person. No, I know who you're talking about. I was thinking of God, I can't remember his name. He's got dark hair. Different guy, different like Vine young kid.
Yeah.
But I know who you're
Cameron
talking about.
Dallas.
Maybe, but the one you're
There
thinking of
is
was
an
really
awesome
young.
documentary on Netflix that is so funny. I forgot what it's called. Maybe someone in chat knows. But it's like a documentary they did on like the MagCon, like Cameron Dallas type, like those Vine boys who literally their talent was just like, I am an attractive guy.
Didn't they go on tour?
Yes. So it's a documentary about that tour. It is the funniest fucking documentary you will ever see.
What did they do on tour though? They just got up on stage.
They're just
and
like
were
a bunch of
"We're the
teenagers that are just
boys."
like here, and like their manager's like really fucking weird. It's like, what are you guys gonna do today? They're like, I don't know. Go out there and stand around.
And they love it. The
girls are just
they love
screaming,
it.
losing their mind.
Yeah,
And
pissing
like,
their pants.
but the documentary like switches back to the guys, and like they're having like existential crisis of like, I'm just a hot 17-year-old boy, and I stand out there, and suddenly people freak out over me.
I actually learned about this kind of recently, like the tour that they did. What did they call themselves?
MagCon.
MagCon. And I remember because I was big into Vine.
Yeah.
I loved Vine. Still like love it. I'm one of those like annoying people that like quotes Vines and stuff. But yeah, they went on tour and I was like, what did they do? It's like
They were just there.
they just were there.
were there.
And they pulled numbers too.
Yeah, it was huge.
Just got like gigantic crowds.
You know what that kind of audience and that niche became? Dream SMP.
Really?
That's what I think. It was like the same like unexplainable like obsession that any Minecraft streamer at that time, I think it's kind of died off now, kind of QSMP, but that's more like a Satan fan base, I think.
Yeah.
There was just like with SMP Live, the first Minecraft server I was in, and then Dream SMP, there was just so many like just like unhinged crazy people that I was like, what the fuck is going on? I will never forget like the first time I saw like cutesy edits of like me and Schlatt with like hundreds of like thousands of likes on Twitter, like overnight. I was like, where did these people come from? Like, what are you watching this for?
Were they like fan cams almost?
Yeah, but it was just like strange because like our content we were doing just did not lend itself to that. Like we weren't using face cam, we weren't doing it was just strange, but it still was like sexualized to people.
People will make a fan cam of anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's two markers of I'm starting to make it in this industry. The first one was getting a fan cam, which I have not done. The second one was getting on WikiFeet, which I have done
I made
recently.
it on there.
I have one picture on WikiFeet, and it looks like, you know, when Peter Griffin passes out in Family Guy?
Yeah.
It's a picture of me that my friend Bobby took when at TwitchCon Vegas. It was the first night, and I was drunk, and I had like went into my room to put my sweats on, and I just laid down, and my feet are kind of like kicked up in that photo. And that is my
What was your
WikiFeet.
score?
My score?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, I don't know if anybody had ranked my feet.
No one had ranked it. Wow.
No, it was just the post.
I think I had like 5 stars.
Really?
But most people do. It's kind of like those dog rating webs, like Twitter accounts are like, we'll rate your dog. And they're like 13 out of 10 every time.
Yeah, that's true.
like the wiki feed. They're all like 5 out of 10 or 5 out of 5, unless it's like bad feed. I mean, I'm saying this like I'm an expert. I haven't seen wiki feed in a minute.
Yeah,
but
it sounds like you were exploring.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at like I didn't know what WikiFeet was, and then all of a sudden I was like, "This is
It's
my
just-
destiny."
It's foreign to me.
The inevitability on the internet this is every single time. It doesn't happen to me actually as much as it happens to other girls, but every single time I do content with a guy, they assume that I cannot exist in the space without there being some sort of relationship.
Well, we are divorced.
That is true. I'm divorced from everybody.
I mean, that is a factor.
And slime. That's the thing. Is I'm only having people on the podcast that I'm divorced from. What's your least favorite chatter? Not by name, but I mean like least favorite like type of chatter.
Ooh.
Because I did a tier list like kind of recently of
I
like
saw that. It
types
was
of
good.
chatters.
It was good.
It's a good one. You should do it. It is a great one. You want to know my least favorite type?
Yeah.
The ones that ride the line, because if
That's,
somebody
I think, what I was
sucks,
thinking.
you can ban them.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't quite suck enough to ban them,
Yeah.
and
I've had people like that. You know who you are.
You're just like, well, I mean, you didn't really do anything wrong, but you're just kind of like pissing me off.
Yeah. But then they're really helpful half the time too. I had this guy that's so helpful and he's great, but then he knows how to get under my skin half the time too. I'm just like, you son of a bitch, why are you here? What do you gain? Those are the worst type. The people who know the streamer too well, and they know how to act too well. Sometimes you just need to be a brainless Twitch chatter. You should never be thinking about me too much. I am the person in the computer. I'm not real. Just like, don't try to break me. Like an AI. Like, think of me like an AI. You don't want to break me.
True.
And then it won't be entertaining anymore.
How do your parents feel about streaming stuff?
They don't really understand it, but they're very glad that like I made my own job after like struggling in high school with all that shit. So they think that's really cool.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people's parents, it's like once they learn that there's a monetary value.
Yeah, once the money comes in, you can't really complain.
Right. Yeah, it's like if you're having fun and you're making enough money, but I can understand why they would be nervous about like long-term stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's no like 401k.
Exactly.
Yeah, my parents are the same. They're like, my mom actually, she's like in most of my streams. Like she comes and watches most of my streams and is in chat and stuff. My dad pops in every once in a while. But I think that they just kind of are like, I don't know, we don't really get it. Like, how do you explain when people ask what you do for a living? That like, how do you explain it? It's
not as hard anymore. It's interesting how in the past 4 years alone, it's gotten easier. Like more people know post-pandemic than they did before, obviously.
Yeah.
It's just more well known. I just kind of say like, oh, I do YouTube or I work online or something is usually what I say. But like my parents never really like understood it. And I kind of asked them not to. Like I asked them not to like watch my stuff or like engage with it. Because it gives me, it's a weird like boundary for me.
Yeah. Is it for you? Are you nervous about like them doxing or anything, or is it just for you?
Yeah, I mean, like, stuff like that, surely. Like I'd be worried about, but I don't know. It's just like a weird separation for me.
Okay, I have one final question before we wrap, which I almost forgot to ask, but I want to ask about your username.
About my username?
Yeah.
Oh, it comes from iCarly.
Really?
Yeah. I was looking for a name to make that'd be easy to remember. I was thinking, I knew I wanted to keep Connor. At the time I had like a weird spelling of Connor as like my online name. And so I was like, what do I remember? And I remembered the iCarly episode where they tell the teacher Mr. Howard eats pants. And I was like, well, I remember that. That was easy. So I'll just do that. And then it worked because people remember it.
Do you have any regrets about having your actual like name in your username?
About what?
About having your name in your username, like Connor?
Oh, yeah. I totally wish I didn't. Like, I wish I had like a made up name.
I did too.
Or like a verb or something that was just like a name. I did this bit for a while where like I hinted at people that like my name wasn't Connor. I'd be like, oh no, it's Caleb, and like pretend leak it.
Oh, like pretend that was like your middle name or something? I kind of
gave up on that bit because it just is my name.
Yeah, I'm the same with, I heard Pokimane talk about this once. Her name is not Pokimane, obviously, surprise.
Right. It's Amon.
Yeah, and she says that it makes it a little bit easier to like leave the hate at the door because she's like,
yeah,
if people say certain things about Pokimane, that's fine because they're saying that stuff about Pokimane. They're not saying about Iman. So
yeah, that makes
like
sense.
I can kind of like body the hate because it's like, you don't know who I am. Like you're just like reacting to the person that you see on the screen for however long I leave that person there.
That gets to me. I mean, that even happened this past year where like randomly people were like from like the Minecraft community that don't even watch me had like said something about me and kind of dragged my name through the mud on something that just didn't make any sense. It just sucks to like see my name and face attached to that. And I can imagine it'd be easier if like I didn't feel so personally involved.
Yeah, how do you deal? Because I haven't really, thankfully, like run into anything yet that's been like, I haven't gotten like, not even like canceled, but like I haven't really had my name like pulled through the dirt yet. So like, how do you deal with that?
Well, mostly it was by like dumb teenagers, which helps. I don't feel like I've really been like attacked by anybody that I felt like was like within reason or like an adult. I kind of try to avoid conflict a lot in general because that gives me anxiety, the idea of having to navigate that. But yeah, I don't know. I would say my first advice is to just make good decisions. So you don't have to be put in that position in the first place. But everybody is a human. Everybody does dumb shit. Just how life is.
Especially content creators.
Yeah, I like to think that it's improving. But it probably isn't. It's probably just another, whatever will happen soon with somebody, but who knows? Do you remember when Ninja, when Ninja unfollowed me?
Did he?
Yeah. But that was because I defended Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
That was during that whole drama. Well, that was like beginning of last year. It's like almost 2 years now.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that when somebody like hate rated her and then he like stood up for that? Really?
Yeah.
God, that seems
that
like
was
it just happened.
January of 2022.
Christ.
Yeah. That was crazy.
That was crazy, but I mean, I'm glad that you did because that was just like a.
I had a banger tweet there. I don't know what it was.
With him, it was just one of those like, why do you need to even like say anything about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not stress. It's annoying how that kind of just. I feel like he didn't really apologize or move past that.
Pokemon is like I feel like she's a little bit of like the human shield for like female streamers in a way because she's, if anybody is, the most like household name.
Yeah, she gets so much hate just for being Pokemon. Right. It's crazy.
And it's like she's been around for a long time. She's like the female streamer that people know if they know any. It was like kind of her and Ninja. It was like if you didn't know streamers, you maybe would still know them. And so for me, it's kind of like I just see her as like a weathered soldier in a way when it comes to like hate for women on the internet because
1000%.
I think if anybody has said anything about a female streamer, they've said it about her. Well, chat, this has been...
Wait, you did have another question.
Did I have another question?
You told me before you wanted to ask about a story.
This will be a banger to end on, actually. Yeah. So I heard word that when you were in middle school on a school field trip, you shut down the White House.
It's true. I did. I shut down the White House on accident when I was in 8th grade. Where do I even start? We were outside the front of the White House. There was a girl I liked that was like talking with like her circle of friends. And so I was like with my guy friends like against the fence, and I'd set my backpack behind me against the fence. And then she comes over and is like, "Hey, come over here." And I'm like, "Oh my God, of course."
Anything for you, Beyonce?
Anything for you, man. So I get up and I walk away and go to this other circle of friends that are talking. And after like 2 minutes, she like left. So the girl I was into had not even been there anymore. So I was like, why the fuck did I get at this point? But I'm there for like another 5, 6, maybe even 10 minutes. And then she comes back behind me like after that, and she taps me on the shoulder. And I'm like, "Oh, what's up?" And she's like, the Secret Service wants to talk to you. And I was like, the Secret Service wants to talk to me. And I have to play it really cool because like I like this girl. I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
you're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'll go talk to the Secret Service. So I walk over to the Secret Service, and it's like 2 guys, and they just look like fucking mad, like tired. And they're like, "Is this your bag?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my bag." And they're like, you can't just leave it against the White House fence, right? And I was like, honestly, I was pretty chill about it even after like I'd walked away from the girl. I was just like, what are they gonna do? Like I'm like a 13-year-old kid. Yeah. I was like, okay, like sorry, I put on the fence. And the guys, I could tell the one guy didn't really give a shit. The other guy was like really annoyed that I did not understand what I had done. Right. So he's like, "Do you realize we just locked down the White House over this? Like the president could have been in a meeting." And I'm like, "Was he?" and he's like, he didn't want to answer that question because he didn't know. He was just trying to make me really upset at what I had done, and I was like,
Obama's just on the toilet.
I was like, I'm sorry, like I don't know, like I didn't mean to do that, like it was an accident. He's like, okay. And then I look at the other guy, he's holding my backpack, and the guy just hands it back to me. And I'm like, all right. And then I later found out that the White House had been shut down.
That's wild. It's like the airport.
I guess it happens like not too uncommon that they shut down the White House.
Oh, like if somebody's
like
just
any
outside,
weird
suspicious
guy or suspicious package or something. But I was the suspicious package that time.
That's a wild, like, that is so wild. Did you go home and, like, was anybody mad at you, or did your parents laugh?
Like, I don't even know if my parents know.
Do they know?
I don't think so. Like, a teacher is probably like, why'd you do that?
I bet
And
the
was
teachers
like, I don't
laughed.
know. The teachers were probably annoyed. No, they had.
You think? Oh, I bet they
had
laughed
sticks
about
up their
it.
ass. They were definitely annoyed.
Really? Oh, because you went to, it was like a Christian school, right?
Yeah, they were always kind of weird
yeah.
like that.
That's true.
God. Yeah, I don't
damn it.
even know if my parents knew about that.
What a time. What date was it? January?
What?
January?
Yeah, January 6th. Yeah, that's when this happened.
Nice.
No, this would have been May 2013, maybe.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I was graduating high school. Off to beauty school, get my cosmetology degree. Well, chat, this has been Connoreatspants. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. All right, guys, stay safe. Don't hydroplane. Use extra protection when you're hydroplaning because you never know what can happen. I have to get up and I have to turn the podcast off because I can't do it from sitting down because I didn't set up my stream deck. So everybody enjoy one shot of Connor as he fades into the darkness. Okay, bye everybody.